There is a specific kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with sleep. It is the fatigue of a mind that has already finished a thought before the rest of the room has even begun to form the question. Most people believe intelligence is a master key, a tool that unlocks wealth, influence, and ease. But for many who exist on the far right of the cognitive bell curve, intelligence functions less like a key and more like a cage. While the majority of the population moves through life at a steady, rhythmic pace, there are those wired for a different velocity. They see patterns before they fully emerge. They predict failure while others are still brainstorming success. They detect subtle insincerity instantly, not emotionally, but structurally. And the uncomfortable truth is this: the world is not built for these people. Our schools, offices, and social systems are engineered for the average. They are optimized for the middle 68%. When you exist outside that curve, the very traits that should be your greatest assets become your primary sources of friction. You are not trapped because you are weak. You are trapped because you are moving at a speed the system was never designed to accommodate. The emotional pattern, the isolation of velocity. Psychology has a term known as the communication gap. Research suggests that when the IQ difference between two people exceeds roughly 30 points, meaningful communication begins to break down. Not emotionally, structurally. The way cause and effect are perceived changes. Humor loses its timing. Priorities no longer align. For the highly intelligent individual, this creates something deeper than loneliness. It creates social dysphoria. Imagine walking through life at double speed, while everyone else moves in slow motion. At first, you adapt. You pause your sentences, you simplify your observations, you learn to play small to make others comfortable. But over time, waiting becomes irritation, and irritation becomes withdrawal. Society misreads this pattern. What it sees is arrogance, detachment, a lack of team spirit. But the reality is not superiority, it is starvation.
A high-velocity mind requires high-velocity input. When the environment offers only repetitive, low-resolution stimuli, the mind doesn't just get bored, it begins to decay. Everyone else moves on because the pace satisfies them. The intelligent person remains stuck, not because they can't do the work, but because they cannot find a reason to value it. The consequences. The mediocrity ceiling. This pattern doesn't destroy lives overnight. It erodes them slowly, starting with education. School is the first prison. It rewards obedience over insight, compliance over comprehension. For the cognitive outlier who can see inefficiency in the instruction itself, this is a subtle form of psychological punishment. They learn early that asking why creates friction, that insight is less valuable than obedience. As adulthood arrives, this evolves into what can be called the mediocrity ceiling. In modern workplaces, efficiency is rarely rewarded. If a task designed for 8 hours is completed in 2, the system does not grant freedom. It grants more work or demands visible busyness to preserve social balance. Over years, this teaches a brutal lesson. Competence generates friction. Compliance generates safety. Peers who are less perceptive but more adaptable rise through the system. They are not more capable, they are more compatible. They move on, they settle, they accept. Meanwhile, the intelligent individual remains in perpetual transition, searching for an environment that does not exist. A brilliant engine, idling for 20 years, eventually overheats. The inward turn, self-destruction by design. A mind built to solve problems cannot exist without them.
When the external world provides nothing worthy of engagement, the mind turns inward. This is the biological burden of intelligence. The brain is a high-energy organ. It demands return on investment. If reality is too slow, too illogical, or too shallow, the self becomes the project. Overthinking begins. Existential analysis replaces experience. Relationships become transactions. Goals collapse under scrutiny. This creates a metacognitive loop. The individual becomes aware of their own overthinking and then analyzes that awareness.
Layers of detachment stack on top of each other. While others focus on the immediate, the next meal, the next task, the next weekend, the intelligent mind is trapped interrogating meaning itself. The result is functional paralysis. They are capable of anything, yet find themselves doing nothing, because they have already simulated every outcome and found them all insufficient. At this point, the cage is no longer external. They have internalized it. Many attempt to escape this state. Some turn to distraction, endless consumption, scrolling, noise. Others turn to substances, not for pleasure, but for relief. Some drown themselves in ideas without execution. These are not failures of discipline, they are failures of fit. A high-capacity system starving from meaningful challenge will seek stimulation anywhere it can find it. The tragedy is not addiction itself, it is unused potential disguised as coping. An engine designed for speed, burning fuel while standing still. We like to believe intelligence is an objective advantage. We tell children to be smart as if it guarantees safety. But intelligence is not a moral good, it is a biological frequency.
And like any frequency, it requires a receiver. A high-frequency mind in a low-frequency world does not create harmony, it creates noise. The people who move on are not necessarily more capable, they are rhythmically aligned with the system. They are at home because the system mirrors them. The outlier waits for the world to catch up. It won't. The system is not broken, it is functioning exactly as intended, to provide predictability for the majority. Understanding your mind will not free you, it will only make the walls visible. You are left with a difficult realization. Your mind was built for a world that does not exist, and the longer you wait for permission to belong, the more life you sacrifice to a silence no one else can hear. The weight of being ahead is that you are always, by definition, alone.